Okay, good morning. This is Lindsay Sin, Deputy Secretary for Women Veterans Affairs at the California Department of Veterans Affairs. This morning we have a very special presentation in our every other month bi-monthly webinar series that we do for women veterans. This is March 30th, 2017. We have changed up the date a little bit. Normally we do these webinars on the first Monday of the month, but we wanted to be able to present something very special on this segment. So in order to do that, we had to move some things around. So today we're going to hear from the producer, Susan Ciprell, producer and of the film Soldier On, Life After Deployment, which follows 3 women and their transition from military service into civilian life. And Susan is also the founder of Tree of Life Productions. We would have had Natasha Young, veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, with us today, but she's had an emergency, so she will probably be unable to join us. We wish her well, and hopefully we can have a follow-up conversation with her in the future. So a few housekeeping items, everybody. Please remember to mute your phones if you're calling into this discussion. You can also use our GoToMeeting link and follow along the conversation with our presentation as well. These segments are always recorded and available at our website, calvet.ca.gov/women veterans. And if you look under our Around California link, you should be able to find our monthly statewide webinars. And they're always available for you to view in the future. And we typically post them about a week after the webinar recording. So look for this online in about a week and you'll see it. So I'd like to say welcome to Susan. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this webinar with us. And I know that you've had a lot of attention and press around this recently released video, so it's really an honor to have you come and talk to us for a little bit. California women veterans make up about 163,000 women across the state of California. We have one of the highest rates of women veterans in the nation, of any state in the nation. And women really serve in all branches of service in every capacity. And we try and do the best we can to connect them with their benefits and raise awareness about women who serve in the military. And Susan, it sounds like you will probably be at the forefront of this conversation, given the work you've done on this documentary. You very well understand the issue of raising awareness about women who serve and some of the things they go through. So now I'd like to forward our presentation, and if it's all right with you, Susan, show a clip of the film, and then you and I can have a discussion about how this came to be and talk a little bit about the subjects of the film.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Lindsay.
So we have a few statistics as well. We can talk about that after. I'm going to go ahead and show the clip of the film. Just so everyone knows, as a disclaimer, this does contain some combat scenes. There is some graphic language and content, so please be aware of that.
Over there, your world stopped. I didn't understand that. I was like, we're getting fucking mortared every day. We're getting indirect fire shot at every day. You know what I mean? That's me right there. I feel like it's always, I don't ever feel safe anymore. Myself, I feel like I'm on the verge of freaking out about something. Like I can't handle like living. I wanted to deploy, and I was excited about it. You know, overall, it was. I mean, did I love it? No. You know, know, I got through it. Honestly, I was more fearful of getting actually assaulted on the base than I was of getting hit by the Taliban. When I heard the word veteran, I thought of older war veterans, like World War II, Vietnam veterans, and never really realized that I was going to be considered a veteran after I got done with my service. Nobody was really, I think, ready to see this generation of veterans come back. I had such a tremendous sense of purpose doing my job in the military. And these days, it's more like I have to find it. And I feel like nothing compares. In my future, I'm born from the best. In my future, I can't make them glad. Don't wanna live down heaven.
Okay. So we just watched the clip of the new documentary, Soldier On, Life After Deployment. Sue, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to cover women veterans and address their issues and experiences after coming home from combat?
Sure. The simplest reason, Lindsay, is I was curious. Who are the women who join the military today? What happens to them when they serve, particularly if they deploy? And how do they readjust to life at home after their military service ends?
Okay. Did you have any experience or know many women veterans prior to this project?
No, but I did have experience interviewing veterans and working with veterans in a documentary format. When I graduated from Columbia Graduate School of Journalism at the age of 50, and I wrote my master's project at Columbia on the readjustment experience of 3 male veterans who had served in Iraq, returned to the New York City area. That was a written project. And then one of my former professors, after I graduated, asked me to help him do a long-term multimedia project that he could use as an example for graduate students of journalism. And he asked if we could do something about veterans or the military, since that's what I had done my master's project on. And it was a fortuitous timing because New Jersey was deploying the largest contingent mostly of people to war since World War II, and it was a National Guard deployment. So we actually did a multimedia project on the families left behind in New Jersey, but that was an internal academic project. So then after I completed that, I was really done with all of my academic work and helping my professor. And then I embarked on a multimedia project and documentary about people over the age of 50 who had lost their jobs in the Great Recession. When I did that project, no one was really talking about older Americans and the issues they faced due to unemployment. And when that project ended, then I wanted to return to the topic of veterans, and I really wanted to focus on women veterans. And so that's how Soldier On, Life After Deployment got started.
Well, really interesting. I find that people that work in the veteran space in one capacity or another have a great passion for it. And it sounds like your journey in making this documentary grew into a passion as well, in terms of how you kind of step by step went down that path of looking at veterans issues. So,
I would say that's absolutely right.
Yeah. For our listeners, in case folks aren't aware, there are about 2 million veterans who are women nationwide, which is about 9% of the total veterans population in the nation. Here in California, women are 163,000. There are over 163,000 of us, and we make up about 9% of the total California veteran population as well. And women veterans are incredibly diverse in their demographics. They come from many different ethnic backgrounds and are more ethnically diverse than their male counterparts. And their average ages are also younger, which I think presents specific challenges when it comes to systems that are designed to serve them, and when it comes to how they internalize the identity of being a veteran and how society recognizes them. Sue, what do you think were some of the greatest takeaways in following these three women in their journeys? What did you learn? I'm sure you learned a lot, but anything you learned specifically that you hadn't really known before, hadn't thought of, that they were able to impart to you?
Well, I was looking, I obviously have been interested in veterans for a while, as we just discussed, and so I had done a lot of preliminary reading, and I was looking for some key characteristics. I wanted to get women who had deployed. I wanted to find a woman who was a mother. Ideally, I would have found a woman who had a child or children she had to leave behind when she deployed, but I did not in time to make the film. And I was also looking for a homeless woman because I knew that homelessness was a huge issue among veterans in general, and women veterans in particular. So I was looking for a few key characteristics. But out of that, Julian, I really did not understand the depth of issues that I was going to get into with Soldier On Life After Deployment. I had done, as I said, a lot of reading, but I really didn't know where that was going to lead. And I was very surprised that in three main characters, so many issues arose. PTSD, military sexual trauma, difficulty of maintaining relationships, particularly during deployment, divorce, substance abuse. I was quite surprised. Oh, difficulty finding purpose and reemployment upon the return to the civilian world. So all of those issues were manifested in not every single one in each of the three characters, but I was surprised to find the breadth of issues with only three women.
Mm-hmm. And yet, in spite of all of it, these are warriors, right? These women performed as well as their male counterparts on the battlefield and when they were deployed and while in service, and came home and are grappling with so many issues that all veterans are facing, and I think with a specific focus sometimes because they're women. What do you admire about these three women?
Well, backing up to where you started, yes, they are warriors, and they are all very proud of their military experience and service, and feel that it contributed significantly to their lives and to their growth and to their maturity. What I admire about the three women is all of them came from somewhat difficult and troubled backgrounds, and they joined the military because they were looking for something better in their own life, and they were looking for things that both male and female veterans look for. They were looking for skills, they were looking to serve their country, they were looking for secure employment, they were looking for adventure, they were looking for educational opportunities in the future. And they found all those things. And Lindsay, who is one of the three main characters, I was able to speak with her in Afghanistan before she came home and ask her if she would be willing to participate in the documentary. And she said, Sue, I'll only participate in the documentary if it's not military bashing. And I said, Lindsay, I'm a sincere filmmaker, and the Soldier On will sincerely reflect your experiences. So if your experiences in the military were on balance positive, that's what my film will reflect. And all three of the women are, as I have said, are very proud of their military experience. And although they came home and have had, to some degree, turbulent readjustments, I admire the grit and resilience that has helped them get their feet back on the ground in the United States.
And how do you find Natasha and Lindsay and your what was the additional person's name? Amanda. How do you find the three of them are doing now? Do you keep in touch with them pretty regularly?
I keep in very close touch with Natasha and Amanda. And I should take one step back. Lindsay, is it okay if I describe where the film stands right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Soldier On Life After Deployment is being distributed by American Public Television. And originally they wanted to release it in May for Memorial Day, but because it's about women and there is so much happening with women in the military, as you started off your introduction by saying, they decided to move up the release date for Soldier On to March 2017, this month, in honor of Women's History Month. So Soldier On has been playing all across the country for this past month, and will continue to air and broadcast on public television. And I think that has been fabulous for two reasons. I'm very proud as a filmmaker that the film has been so well received. All of the top markets are showing it. 82% of the public televisions across this country are broadcasting Soldier On. And I think that is helpful in terms of raising awareness about women veterans and also doing something to bridge the civilian military divide. And as we know, after World War II, 12% of Americans had served in the military, and today only less than 1% of Americans have served. And obviously the percentage for women veterans, although it's growing, is smaller than 1%. So very few members of the general public know or really can understand the important role that women are playing in the military today, both active duty and as veterans. So that's what makes me feel really good about the widespread broadcast dates for Soldier On. But additionally, I'm getting requests all over the country for screenings where people want me and as many of the three main characters are available to attend, to come and show the film and then talk about it as we are doing in this webinar today. And so Natasha and Amanda have been coming to some of those screening events with me, and those are really emotional and deep occasions where I'm sorry, someone just knocked on the door. I apologize. Where women veterans get the chance to connect with one another and to find out about resources that are available to them and have access to those resources if they need them. So Amanda and Natasha have been coming to quite a few of those with me. Natasha works and Amanda is in school to become a physical therapist, so they can't always come, but I'm seeing them quite regularly. Lindsay, the third main character in the film, is attending graduate school in Colorado and has less availability to attend these kind of screenings. But all of them are doing well. Lindsay is in graduate school studying psychotherapy in Colorado. She is there on the GI Bill. Natasha is working in a veteran service organization in Massachusetts. And Amanda is working on her physical therapy degree, as I said. And also, as a consequence of the film, both Amanda and Natasha are being invited to speak out more and more on behalf of women veterans.
That's wonderful to hear. I think what we who work in the veteran space all want to see is how really intelligent, capable veterans like these three women go on to kind of be leaders in the veterans community and continue to be that voice, raising awareness about our service and working so hard to help folks understand that while veterans face specific issues, particularly upon transition from the military, overall, we will be and continue to be very successful people in our lives. It sounds like Lindsay, Natasha, and Amanda are exactly those people, all pursuing their education or working to serve veterans. That's wonderful news.
Yes, it was funny because on the website, the trailer is obviously just a 2.5-minute clip of the film. And Soldier On has a big Facebook following. And someone wrote in and said, someone will make a documentary one day about women veterans succeeding and overcoming these obstacles. And I responded to that comment, as I do to all the comments, or I try to respond to every single comment on the Facebook page. And I said, wait, you've only seen the trailer. Nobody gives away the ending in a trailer.
Right. And I think that's good to hear that there's a positive message in the documentary. Because, you know, we do look at the news headlines. What grabs the headlines? It's the rates of homelessness. It's the rates of suicide. It's the unemployment rates for specific veterans groups. All of those are staggering statistics that we have to pay attention to, and we have to create better systems to address those. However, we also see with women veterans that when they are employed, they're employed at rates commensurate with their women counterparts, non-veteran counterparts, or higher. They work often in management positions or in government jobs, so there's a degree of stability there. And women veterans are using their educational rates, their GI Bills, and pursuing their education at rates even higher than male veterans. So that's the good news to all of this, is that women are going on and being successful. But are you seeing anything where, because this film focuses on life after deployment and transition out of the military, do you see that there is a tentative time frame there where if women have difficulty in that transition, that it can be more difficult in their future? Did any of the women express anything like that to you?
You know, so much, as you well understand, depends on the person's experience in the military and what kind of environment, broadly defined, she's returning to when she comes back to the United States. So Amanda, who's joined the Army at the age of 18, immediately after graduating from high school, she, bless you, she, when she came back to Rhode Island after her active duty service ended, her birth family, her native family, had basically disintegrated. And so finding her way took her a period of time. Lindsay was able to return. She's a Fordham University graduate. She had already been working before she joined the military. She was in the New York Army National Guard. She also did not experience combat, which Amanda did. Her experience while deployed in Afghanistan was less traumatic than Amanda's. So it's a variety of circumstances which combine to affect how a veteran readjusts to life at home, what that timeline is. And also, of course, it's the resources that are available to her when she returns home. Not only her family and friends, but if she is recognizes that she's a veteran and contacts the VA, if she reaches out to veteran service organizations, if she feels comfortable in the veteran community, all of those factors play a role.
I'm really glad you said that, Sue. I'm glad that that's something that you're recognizing through this work. I'm so excited to watch the film, and since I haven't seen it, is any of that addressed in the documentary in terms of, I know that in the clip we just saw, One of the women talks about how she didn't really internalize her veteran status. I think it may have been Lindsay, and how she didn't really know maybe that she was a veteran, that she kind of had this stereotype in her head, or at least that's a stereotype that's been common. That seemed to play into how each of these women connected to their benefits or sought help from different organizations if they needed it.
That's absolutely right. It was not. I just actually wrote a column about Adria Horn, who is a West Point graduate and deployed 5 times, and she is the State Veterans Affairs for the State Veterans Affairs coordinator for the state of Maine, particularly directed at women. And she says that every veteran begins at 0. Whether you've been in the military for 1 day or 35 years, it's a huge transformation to become a veteran. And what I really saw working on this film, getting to know Amanda, Lindsay, and Natasha very well, and through the process of working on the film, doing a lot of research and also meeting other veterans, is that it really takes a combination of factors to help veterans reacclimate to life. And as we have been discussing, it's their own internal drive, grit, resilience. It's the VA, it's other veterans service organization, and it's their own friend and family, as well as the community reaching out to them. It's a combination.
Absolutely. Well, that's could not be more, I think, heavily stated, in that it takes a community to welcome a veteran back into their civilian life and back into life in the U.S., essentially. Regardless of where they served or what they did, the military does such a good job of taking kind of the clay of a civilian and molding it into the appropriate service member, Marine, Coast Guard member, sailor, soldier, airman. And that's not something that's easy to shake. You know, your military service is an indelible part of you. It has, even if you serve just a few years, I think it has life-changing influence over you that stays with you, which is great, but can make it a little difficult when you make that transition back into civilian life. So what do you hope that this film is able to accomplish those that see it?
Well, before I answer that question directly, I also want to say one point that I didn't make in response to the question that you asked me earlier is the military emphasizes many fundamental values, which are deeply meaningful to people: honor, duty, brotherhood or sisterhood, community, hard work, self-discipline. And internalizing those values, appreciating and internalizing those values is one of the big factors that all of the women allude to, draw strength from, and made their time in the military very significant and deeply satisfying. And that, ironically, is also one of the key points that makes life in the civilian world more difficult for a while. And all of the women talk about how hard it is to find meaning in the civilian world upon return, because the big topics that the military talks about all the time are not topics that civilians discuss on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know for veterans that I've spoken with, and based on my own experience, going from doing something like defending your country or your fellow service member, or accomplishing a mission that is something so critical to the preservation of life or to defense and security, regardless of what it is, it has so much more meaning while you're in the military, and then coming home and sitting in a classroom or trying to buy groceries at the grocery store. Sometimes the intensity with which people react to those very mundane situations is hard for a veteran to kind of understand, given where they were previously. So, you know, deadlines for class papers and homework assignments in college didn't really have the same, I guess, impact and levity that serving in the military did in completing a mission. So there's quite a gap there. There's quite a gap.
Yes.
So I'd like to show now just a few photos that you shared with us of Amanda, Lindsay, and Natasha from our webinar recording. So I think this photo is a great photo of Natasha in the Marine Corps.
Yes.
And this is a photo of, I believe, Lindsay.
Correct.
Yeah. And what did each of the women, you know, what their MOSs were?
Natasha ended up a staff sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps, and she was deployed to Iraq twice, once in 2005 and once in 2007. And she supported an EOD unit on her second deployment, which is why her second deployment was so difficult. It was prior to the improvement of body armor and also armor for the vehicles in Iraq.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a high loss of life because of some of the armor issues, at least on the vehicles. And then, yeah, women weren't given armor that really fit their frame.
Exactly.
Personal body protection, yeah.
And Amanda was. Whoops.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, just wanted to remind everybody to please mute their phones so that we don't have any echoes or reverberation during our conversation.
Thank you. Amanda ended up a sergeant in the U.S. Army. She deployed to Afghanistan for about a year, 2010, and she was in intelligence, and she ended up in combat in northeastern Afghanistan. And fortunately for me, as a documentary filmmaker, CBS had sent a film crew there, so I actually was able to buy footage of Amanda running around in combat in Nuristan province in Afghanistan in full combat gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the picture we have up right now is one of Amanda, I believe, with her rifle and completely in full gear.
Exactly. Although I do have to say that is not her rifle. That is an M4 that one of the Afghanis lent her. That's one of the Afghanistan weapons. She had her own M4. People have asked me, why isn't she holding an American weapon? That's why.
Got it. And this is another picture of Lindsay.
And Lindsay was a first lieutenant in the New York Army National Guard, and she was also deployed to Afghanistan for a year. And she was in the Signal Corps and supported a engineering battalion.
Okay.
And you asked me a question before that I didn't answer, but the answer to your question about what do I hope the film accomplishes, I hope the film accomplishes a improvement in recognition of the contribution of women to the military and also now to the growing veteran community. And I also hope that it starts to help women veterans gain complete access, full integration into the military, complete access to all resources that are provided for veterans, and complete acceptance by the veterans community in the United States. So I feel that Soldier on Life After Deployment is part of the effort to help women fully make that transition. It's part of the ongoing effort and conversation in the United States. And I have had women walk up to me after seeing the film, women veterans, and say so many times, thank you for telling not exactly my story, but part of my story. And I feel validated for the first time as a veteran after watching the film, which obviously makes me feel fantastic.
That's wonderful to hear. I think that your point is well taken in what you'd like to see this film achieve, because reflective of that, we certainly continue to see that women's service isn't readily recognized, that women are still considered probably the spouse or a daughter of a male veteran should they go to any sort of function that would disclose their veteran status. And women are often reluctant to disclose their veterans in the first place. And although I've seen great improvement over the last 11 years since I got out of the Navy in a lot of areas servicing veterans and particularly women veterans, we still have a lot of work to do. And films like this, I think, really showcase the important contributions that women have made to the military, that they are deeply embedded in all jobs, MOSs, NECs of the military. They're performing their duties quietly, putting their heads down, and just kind of doing the best they can and doing it well. And yet we don't necessarily see them in those roles when we think about a veteran. So that's great that you're raising awareness about that. So the film is now being seen across the nation on public access channels. Do you see this film being available for download or purchase in the future if people miss it on their local public access station or their local PBS station, for instance?
Yes, I do have a link on the Soldier on Life After Deployment website for people to buy the film. The DVD is in the process of being produced right now, so I should be able to start shipping DVDs out in a week or so. I had to wait till after the first month of March when it was broadcast on from Women's History Month.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it will be available for purchase.
Yes.
Wonderful. And then you're still continuing to travel across the country with Amanda and Natasha when they're available to discuss the film. Do you have any screenings coming up that you know of?
Well, I have a screening at Williams College in Massachusetts, which is my alma mater, in April. And then I have a screening on on May 18th for the House Congressional Women's Caucus, which I'm very excited about, for both Democrats and Republicans to see the film and talk about it. And then I have a screening in Minnesota sometime this spring. I don't have my calendar in front of me, for for the state women veterans coordinators. And I'm also going to Virginia for a screening and discussion. So these are all, I can't tell you how fabulous these events are. When people see the film and realize that it's about real people, it's not about a list of issues, real people facing difficulties and problems and revealing their own strengths and determination. And so people respond really emotionally to the film. And they're very emotional occasions. When the film was screened in Rockland, Maine, afterwards, so many Vietnam vets came up to thank Amanda and Natasha, who were both able to attend that screening, to thank them for their service and to recognize the contributions that they had made. It was so good for Amanda and Natasha. And the Vietnam vets were sending a message: we were treated badly when we came home. We don't want you to be treated badly as veterans. It was really amazing.
It sounds therapeutic, almost cathartic for both parties. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, it sounds like this really is a medium then to open up dialogue and communication, whether that's between veterans or organizations, or in particular civilians who don't, who are fairly far removed from the service of men and women, given that, you know, as you had stated earlier, we veterans make up such a small proportion of Americans now. So that's wonderful. It sounds like there's going to be wonderful activity for you coming up in at least the next year in terms of showing this film. And so you'll have lots of travels, so safe travels to you and to Natasha and Amanda if they're going all over the country to show this. That's wonderful news. And then the link can be found at your website, which we're sharing that right now. It's http://treeoflifeproductionsllc.com. And then from there you can find the film from the website link. We will also have this information up. Obviously, we'll be continuing to share this screen with that information from our recorded session here today, so people can easily find that. And then we'll plan to share this on our social media as well. And so you said you have a Facebook page that kind of promotes the film. And is this being now used as kind of a forum for discussion between women who have served, or between men and women who have served as well?
A little bit. I put information about screenings and broadcast dates on the Facebook page, but really I try to share as much information as possible about women veterans every day. So I scan the news every day. I read the VA publications, anything that I can find about women veterans, and almost every day I post something of interest about women veterans. It could be historical, it could be about resources, it could be about research, what's happening with women's complete integration into the military. So it's not only about the film, it's really an informational site about women veterans, or an informational Facebook page about women veterans.
Right. Now, you mentioned women and their integration, complete integration into combat roles. How do you feel this film supports that, or refutes that, or really adds to that discussion, I should say, overall?
Well, Amanda was in combat before women were officially allowed to be in combat, and she was fighting. And she says in a very straightforward manner in the film, I don't understand why it's taken so long. She doesn't say it exactly like this, but really there's no front line. So when you're attacked, if you find yourself under fire, your unit is under fire, and you're a woman, I'm almost quoting her exactly. You don't say to herself, I'm a woman, I'm just going to stand here. You take up your weapon, you get yourself in the right position, and you do what's expected of you as a soldier.
Right. Bullets don't care if you're male or female, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way that she puts that. Yeah.
Again, it's not, there's no data in the film. It's not full of statistics. The conclusions that the viewer reaches are not directed. They come out of watching the women's experiences. And so no one says in the film, oh, women should be allowed in combat. You just see a woman in combat saying women are in combat, and they should be recognized for their contribution and allowed to go and allowed full recognition in terms of positions and pay for being in combat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. The emotional connection of actually with women, to know them directly, as the film covers, is much more impactful than throwing up statistics on a screen. No doubt. No doubt. Wonderful. So I think that's it for the questions I had out of my own curiosity, really in terms of what the film was going to cover, and learning a little bit more about Amanda, Natasha, and Lindsay. I so wish we could have had Natasha with us today, but the emergency that's drawn her away from us will. Hopefully we can invite both of you back to have further discussions, maybe later in the year, about how everything has gone, where these great women are in their lives at that time, and how the success of the film has kind of come out. Do you have any future projects where you think you'll focus on veterans again, or are you moving on to something a little different, or no plans yet?
I don't really have plans yet, Lindsay. Thank you for asking, because right now, just staying on top of the film and responding to inquiries And participating in events like this, which I think are so important and significant for women veterans, is taking all of my time.
No question about that. Wonderful. Well, I know that I'm really looking forward to seeing this film. If I miss it on my PBS station, then we will definitely find a way to get our hands on it and share it where we can. It would be, we'll also link to your Facebook page through our social media account. We have a Facebook page. It's Calvet Women Veterans, and anyone can find that from our website as well, calvet.ca.gov/womenvets. Additionally, we wanted to share some resources with our listeners and our viewers, really focusing on if this interview and this experience brings up some questions people have about connecting to resources, about support that they really feel they need. We do have those resources. I've just put them up on our on the webinar presentation. The VA does have a Veterans Crisis Line, 1-800-273-8255. There is also a call center just for women veterans with VA. That's 1-855-VA-WOMEN. Our website also hosts a variety of resources that one can find from calvet.ca.gov. And then anyone is also welcome to contact us directly here at Calvet, and our direct line is 916-653-1402, or they can email us at womenveterans@calvet.ca.gov. And can you give us the name of your Facebook page again, Sue, so that we can make sure to have folks directed to that if they want more information about screenings?
Sure, and I will also link to your page as well so that we can get we can all be connected.
Wonderful.
So my Facebook page is Soldier on Film.
Great. Soldier on Film.
I'm sorry, Soldier on Life After Deployment, and then you'll find it.
Okay. So just type in Soldier on Life After Deployment, and then the group should come right up. Wonderful. Yes. So I don't know if any of our listeners have questions for you. I'm going to open it up very briefly. I want to be respectful of time for everyone involved. So if we have anyone that wants to ask you one or two questions or ask questions of us, we can do that now. Sometimes we get a question or two. Sometimes people would rather ask via. That's fine.
Hello?
Hello, this is Lindsay.
Yeah, hi. Yes, hi. I'm calling from Southern California. I'm wondering, can we get a screening of the film for a veterans group here in SoCal?
Yes, and I can also tell you, you can contact me at soldieronfilm@gmail.com. All
right.
And PBS SoCal, I looked it up before I got on the webinar today, is actually showing the film April 1st at 2 p.m. PBS SoCal.
PBS SoCal. Okay, but you're soldieronfilms@gmail.com, correct?
Yes, Soldier on Film, singular. soldieronfilm@gmail.com.
Thank you very much. I think that's, what is the running time of the film?
I'm glad you asked that question because I was just thinking to answer it. The film on TV is 56 minutes long because that's how long it has to be for a 1 hour time slot. Yeah. And it is a clean version of the film. Natasha is a Marine. Enough said.
As a sailor, I understand that.
And I'm Air Force, so.
So there is also a 50, not on television, there is a 56 not clean version of the film. And then there's the 80-minute full-length version of the film, the feature-length film.
Wonderful.
Which is the one I actually try to show in screenings because I feel that you get to know the three women better through that. You understand where they came from, what happened, why they joined the military, what happened to them during their military years, and then then it follows them. We were actually filming them during their readjustment period.
Wonderful. Well, that is terrific. Thank you so very much. I appreciate the info, and I'll be getting in contact with you.
Thank you. And on the DVD, we have both the 56-minute clean version and the 80-minute feature length. Just to let you know.
That is good to know. Well, that will be on the Facebook page, correct, when that's ready?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for your question.
Great. Bye-bye.
Hello?
Great. Oh, go ahead.
My name is Jerry R. Sanders, and I just wanted to let you all know I was one of the first 40 females to do combat training with the men, and I completed it at Fort Dix, New Jersey. So they don't talk about us, and I think we were kind of swept under the rug. So it was like a test period, 78, 79. So we led
Way to
the
go,
way.
way to go, Jerry. I wish I could make another documentary about that.
I know, but I don't know if you can, because it was like a test period, and so that's probably why you haven't heard too much about us. But yeah, it was 78, 79.
Well, Jerry, thank you for sharing that. We'd love to learn more about what you did.
Oh,
and thank you for your service. That's great.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. This is Rebecca, woman health social worker from VA Mayfair. I'm glad that you did the film, and then I work a lot of women veterans. I just have questions. So I'm going to do an honoring women event in October 21st, and the third Saturday. So it's our annual event to honor all the women veterans. It's our 4th year to do it. So is it possible that we can work together, show the film, because we expecting about at least 130 to 150 women from urban and rural will come to the event. So I think it's a very good idea to honor and acknowledge those veterans that they have done a lot for the country.
Will you please? I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name because there was a little bit of a crackle when you introduced yourself.
My name is Rebecca Stallworth. I have been doing honoring events for a long time. I think that is a wonderful occasion to show the film, because we have a lot of veterans. I expecting this year we have at least 150 women who coming to the event for the honoring event in Sacramento in October.
Well, will you send me an email at soldieronfilm@gmail.com?
Yes, I definitely will, because I just think that it's great to acknowledge, because we do have veterans from different era. Like last year, I have a veteran 94 years old, so it's an old era. So it's good to honor them with the film that you make. I will definitely will email you, but thank you for doing it.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to working it out with you.
Thanks.
Well, I think we've already got 2 screenings scheduled for California this year. So I don't know that you realized we'd add to your workload, Sue, and your travel schedule. But we are very excited to bring the film to California. We've women veterans and advocates who organize incredible events here throughout the state have brought films here in the past, have put on conferences and events all up and down the parts of the state. So California will always be welcoming to you, Sue, and to Natasha and Lindsay and Amanda. So I'd like to wrap this call up. Thank you for those that called in and participated. I appreciate your time. But Sue, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us today. You've got a very busy schedule, and you're pretty important these days, given where you're going to show this film and to whom. So really excited that we got to grab a little bit of your time. If you speak with Amanda, Lindsay, and Natasha, please let them know that we just appreciate so much them sharing their story. It has such large implications and wonderful positive effects for the rest of us who've served in the military as women who don't always get a chance to share our stories. It's a brave thing that they did, and it's an honorable thing for you to have wanted to listen to them and record that. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lindsay. And really, I told their stories, but Amanda, Lindsay, and Natasha, and all of you who are veterans or who are working to support veterans, you're the people who I have to thank and who are doing all the hard work. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So if you need to contact Sue, one second. Go ahead.
Lindsay, this is Rhea Chahaki.
Hi, Rhea.
I'd like
How
to
are
find
you?
out. Oh, I'm doing good. I'd like to find out, has she interviewed any WACs, Women's Army Corps?
I don't know. Sue, are you in touch with any women from the Women's Army Corps?
No, and sadly, I would have liked to include 1,000 more women in my film. So no, not at the moment.
Well, Rhea Chahaki is a California woman veteran. She's a combat veteran. I think she served over 30 years in the military, and she's a WAC. So if you ever need a list of really incredible women to make more documentaries, we've got them here. So
well, I'd love to talk with you, Rhea. Thank you.
Okay, so I served 38 years.
38, oh my goodness.
And then 3 years consecutive in Iraq.
Yeah. We've gotten a story. So to contact Sue, again, it's soldieronfilm@gmail.com. To contact us here at Calvet, it's womenveterans@calvet.ca.gov. We will plan another webinar for the first Monday in May. So please note that we will post that information on our Facebook page. We'll also send out an email to our listserv from Women Veterans email. And then you can always call us and contact us if you have questions. And we plan to post the recording of this webinar shortly. This should be up on our website by next week. So if someone is interested in this interview and wasn't able to see it, then please direct them to our website so that they can watch it. So again, Sue, thank you so much for what you've done with this documentary. Safe travels to you, and we look forward to hosting you here in the state of California. To all of our callers and listeners, thank you for your service, and thank you for participating in our webinars, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Bye.
Thank you.